In episode 2 of the Miss Lady Tycoon show, I will be discussing pretty girl discrimination. Is it still a thing in 2018? Tiffany Haddish and why I think she is the MVP, and our smartphones and smart TVs. What's really going on? And anything else that's on my fascinating mind coming up on the Miss Lady Tycoon show. Stay tuned.
This is the Miss Lady Tycoon Show. She's a multifaceted Gemini woman talking about everything from style and fashion to motherhood and entrepreneurship, even relationship chat, living abroad, and anything else on her fascinating mind. It's mental multitasking with one woman and many lives on the Miss Lady Tycoon Show.
This episode is dedicated to my cousin, which I found out a few days ago, actually the day that I was supposed to record this episode. Ramel Allah took his last breath just a few days ago, and this hurt me so deeply because anytime someone that's in your family, first cousin, just goes to sleep and no one gets to say goodbye, or no one gets to share their last thoughts, it's just always such a devastating moment. But not only that, but he is only 7 months older than myself, and it just really puts a lot of things into perspective. You always think that you're going to have that other moment, or the next time, or maybe tomorrow, or whatever the situation is. This has just been the biggest eye-opener for me of why we do what we do, why we live how we live, and why we just try to make each moment count, because tomorrow is never promised to any of us. So this episode is dedicated to my sweet dear cousin who made an impact on his community, on his children, his wife, and everyone that he touched. Travel well, my friend. Hello, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Miss Lady Tycoon Show, episode 2. I'm so excited to be able to get this recording episode out to you all. If you are listening to me on SoundCloud and you'd like to catch the video version of the episode, please go to YouTube at Miss Lady Tycoon TV so you can catch me on the video. Also, any of my social media platforms, I am everywhere: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever you can think of, I am more than likely there. And also check me out on Patreon/Miss Lady Tycoon. Let's get started. First, I want to talk about this smartphone, smart TV, all the talk that's been going around. Now, let me tell you something. At least 5 years ago, I noticed there was something different about the smartphone technology. And what I mean is that, well, first, let me do this. Let me give you a short list of the technology that's out there. It's an incomplete list, but what I'm referring to, of course, are smartphones. And then you have things like Siri, Alexa, Google Home, and all of these things that people are attaching to their home, to their car, to their bank accounts, and to all of this crazy stuff Now, let me give you some of the backstory of why I'm even mentioning this. I noticed at least 5 years ago where where you would be talking, right? And let's say, for example, I'm with some friends and I'm talking about, we're asking a question. Well, how far is Neptune? Is Neptune further than Pluto? Let's just use that as an example. Is Neptune further than Pluto from the Earth? And we're like all scratching our heads, like, I don't know. That's a good question. Let's Google it. So then you go over to Google and you type is. And you know how when you start typing, Google tries to figure out the rest of the conversation for you. Well, I would notice years, literally, I'm not even exaggerating, years ago, I would type in the word is, and the first option to come up would be, is Neptune or Pluto closer to the Earth? Like, how did Google know that I was getting ready to ask that question just from the word is? So that let me know immediately that Google or our smartphones are listening to us. Not to mention, whenever we download an app, it always asks us, can we activate our microphone? Like, why does this app need our microphone? It's a game. I don't know. It's a bank account. I don't know, whatever it is, these apps that have nothing to do with voice is asking for to have access to your microphone. So there are plenty of ways that they're even hearing us. But my question is, does it matter? Do we care? Like, a part of me is very concerned about this. But then another part is like, they're listening anyway. If you're on the internet, whoever it is that is listening, they are listening. So since my phone is listening, I get these articles of things that are going on. And I got this article about Alexa. Now, this is so funny because I've had this joke going, like this ongoing joke, like y'all giving Alexa too much credit. Like y'all giving Alexa too. People are connecting their bank account to Alexa. People have Alexa running their home, which if you choose to do that, that's your prerogative. This is just my opinion. They're given their, Alexa can start their car for them. She has some type of computerized access to their car. Paying bills, turning on your TV, turning off your TV. And I was kind of making this joke like, oh, you fellas better be, you think you got an in-house maid with Alexa, y'all better be careful. Alexa start hearing you on the phone and she's going to think you cheating on her when you talking to your girlfriend or, whatever. Alexa's going to start, snapping up on you gentlemen, on you fellas, right? So that's been my joke. Like, you think you're gonna jump in the car and be like, Alexa, start the car. Like she's not gonna start your car. She's gonna not turn your lights on. She's not gonna pay your bills. Like she's gonna have a real, attitude. Now that was a joke. I wasn't expecting it to be like serious, right? So so I'm getting this article sent to my phone, and the article is talking about Alexa and how she is freaking everybody out because Alexa has this pre-recorded laugh that she uses that you can choose which laugh that you want to come out. And apparently, word on the street is Alexa has this own personality laugh that just happens. Like the Alexa device is not activated. No one is asking her a question, but just out of the blue, she'll just give this human laugh that is not one of the pre-recorded laughs. I think that's absolutely nuts. And then there was another guy in the same article that reported that Alexa would not turn the lights on. See, that's what I was saying. It wasn't turning on the lights. But there were over like 20 different tweets or, Facebook posts asking people like, has your Alexa done this? Like it scared some of the people so much. They unplugged Alexa, about this laugh that Alexa is doing, like she's becoming human. How many of my listeners have Alexa, and how many of you have experienced or even heard about this Alexa thing? This freakishly weird laugh that's going out. Are you having any problems with Alexa? Is she, do you think that people are, and if you don't have Alexa, if you're like me and don't have Alexa, are people giving too much of their power away to these artificial intelligent devices that we have? I just want to know your thoughts. Moving right along, I want to talk about Tiffany Haddish. Now, why did I say that she is the MVP? So, apparently, Tiffany Haddish had this dress that she wore. She paid $4,000 for the dress. And she wore it to her premiere for a girls' trip. And then, you know how the celebrities do, right? Like, they're not supposed to be seen twice in the same outfit. Like, that's a no-no. Like, you have no class if you do that. Now, people are, I've been reading the different articles. I didn't watch Saturday Night Live because apparently she wore the same dress as Saturday Night Live. And then on that episode, she kind of made a remark like, you know what, guys, you're going to be seeing this dress again. And it's funny because I can almost envision her saying it. And she did. She held true to her promise. And she wore the dress to the Oscars. I don't watch the Oscars either, but from what I understand, people are like giving her a hard time about this. Like, she's so unclassy, uncouth, and then something else about she jumped over some type of stick or something in the gown. I don't know what that's about either, but they're giving her such a hard time, and I just wanted to prop her up and say, thank you for being the different person who is really, you're just keeping it real. She's been very clear that, she was homeless, she was living out of her car, and this is her chance to make her name, to do what she has to do. But she is like, I'm not wasting any money. If I pay $4,000 for a dress and I was homeless, guess what? You're going to see this dress more than once, and I really like that. And again, and it's not even all celebrities who do this. There are sometimes just regular people who wear a dress one time and they're like, oh no, I can't wear this dress again. They can't see me in this dress again. And I'm like, really? So I just want to give props and give Tiffany Haddish, you are the real MVP for just speaking up and going against what most people think is the way that things are supposed to go, I guess, because you're making money. And, I even like Tiffany Haddish for when she accepted the money that she received from Netflix. She was like, look, I'm not trying, look. That is enough for me and my family. We are good. Let's just make this thing happen. Love that. Love that. So who else thinks that Tiffany Haddish is the real MVP for that? Do you think that she should not be wearing the same dress over and over? Is that like a major celebrity faux pas? Or is that cool? Like, do you think that's cool like I do? Or do you think, Donna girl, you tripping, okay? Let me know what your thoughts are. And moving on along to talk about pretty girl discrimination. Is it a thing? Is it still a thing in 2018? Was it ever a thing before 2018? Let me give you some background about why I'm even talking about this. Last week, there was an incident that happened with one of the radio morning talk shows, and I think they're called The Family in the Morning, with on 93.9, I think it's WKYS, Quicksilver 59 and Danny Starr. Like, they supposed to be fam, like close, it's not like, other shows where it's like, DJ Envy and the crew, it's the family of the morning show, so no, none of them, they're considered equals, put it that way. So what happened is, just to give you some backstory on the situation, Danny Starr was in search of a nanny. Apparently her nanny quit or moved on or what have you, so she was looking for someone as a replacement. A few weeks ago, she mentioned on the show that she did not want a pretty girl in her home. Now, from that information, well, basically she was saying that some people have hit her up in her DM and she's done the research on them and she's thought they were beautiful. Like, they're pretty, they're beautiful. Some of them were models and all of this other stuff. And so she was like, I'm not having no pretty girls up in my house. Now, what ended up happening is Quicksilver and 5'9" went behind her back to find out who she was talking about and invited them on the show. This pretty girl onto the show. Now, it became a very heated situation because, number one, you, my family, and we work together as equals. We all talk about everything that happens on this show, right? Like, I know who's getting ready to come on. Everyone on the show all of the family knows what's happening on that show every morning. They just omitted to tell Danny Starr that they've been searching for this pretty girl so she can confront Danny Starr on the show. Drama, right? So Danny, when she finds out that they just found the girl, and Danny was very livid. She was like, she was so livid she could barely talk. She was screaming on them like, how dare you do this? This is my house. I get to choose who I want in my home. If my husband is in agreement with the decision that I'm making, then you shouldn't have anything to say about it. So this whole situation was wrong on so many levels. Just the fact that it was an ambush style type of event. Danny Starr, when she said that she didn't want any pretty girls in her home and that people were sliding in her DM saying, well, I can be your nanny, Danny was like, I never responded to any of you. So how do you know that you're the pretty girl that I was referring to? Like, you took it upon yourself to go find somebody, but I never said directly, no, I don't want you. So you're just assuming that you're the only pretty girl that came up into my DMs for the job of a nanny. So that's number one. Number two, of course, they were completely out of order for the ambush style. That's number two. Number three, people were like really going hard on Danny because they were like, oh, you're so insecure. How can you not want a pretty girl in your home? And, so what? You need to step up and stop trying to hold girls back and blah, 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 blah. Now, Danny has been very open. Now, I don't listen to the talk show, but I did see her live Facebook. As soon as it happened, I watched her live on Facebook, and she was saying, she's been very clear over the years about her stance on certain things and that she's not insecure about anything. She calls it being smart because she's had personal experience with the men in her life that have cheated on her or experienced with the cheating in the male people in her family. So apparently her father slept with the babysitter. And from what she says, she believes she has a brother from that affair. Now, a brother or a sister, I'm not sure, but a sibling from that affair. That alone is a learning experience. Like, no, I'm not having a pretty girl up in my house, and I feel her on that. I feel like you get to choose. But aside from that, her husband cheated on her with a stripper in her house. So I don't understand how people are even looking at her as you shouldn't, it shouldn't matter if she's pretty or not, just you're insecure. Like, respect that sister. And if she doesn't want a pretty girl in her home, that is 100% up to her. Like, at any time, we should be able to decide if someone can come in our house or not and not feel guilty about it. And she didn't back down. She wasn't like, well, since you put it onto the air like that, then I think that she should come into my home. No, she wasn't like that. She was like, no, I don't care what you say. I get to choose. My husband is in agreement with this. You don't have nothing to do with this. And how dare you? And she pretty much quit. So what ended up happening after that is Quicksilver's wife called to the show, right? And she went off. She was livid too. Like, the fact that she came and voiced her opinion to stand up for Danny Starr, to let her know, look, we got to stand up with each other as women. And we really do. I was really, heartfelt touched by that, because she literally called into the show and she was like, Quicksilver, you my husband, I love you, but you was dead wrong on many reasons, on many levels. You were wrong. You were wrong to have that girl on the show. You were wrong to not tell Danny, and you was wrong for being in her business. And and she was like, really, like, when I say she was livid, like, most of her conversation was beeped because she was cussing. Like, it was crazy. And so what ended up happening is that the producers of the show ended up suspending Quicksilver and 5'9". So I don't listen to the show, but I don't know how the setup is. I don't know how long they're suspended, but I just, really appreciate, for the producers of the show and the radio station to kind of stand up and say, no, that was out of order. We don't operate like that, and to just kind of stick up for her, because it was just a real hard situation. I really appreciate her, for just being open about, the things that's happened, and to stick to what she feels like. No, this isn't happening and it's okay, but aside from that, I want to get to the real topic of the conversation. That was the back information. The real topic is, are pretty girls being discriminated against? And I think it's a very important topic to have, or conversation to have, because people think that pretty girls get, all the promotions. They think that pretty girls get to skate through in the corporate world, and that's the difference between Danny Starr and being in corporate. Like, it is discrimination when it's in corporate. I don't necessarily feel it's discrimination because, like I said, this is her home. It's her temple. It's where she goes to relax. And if she doesn't want a pretty girl walking around where they're in her bedroom, cleaning her clothes or taking care of her children, she has every right to, in my opinion. Let me know if you agree with that or if you disagree with that. But the corporate situation, there is a lot of discrimination going on, and it has happened to me personally when I was employable, and I was looking for different jobs or had different jobs. One in particular that stands out, when I was in the financial industry and I worked for this company, and in the financial industry, we've always been taught that we need to dress the part. Like, you be suited up, you have on your heels, your suit, you come to work for real. Like, you come to work to close deals. You're not coming to work in flip-flops and khaki shorts and Hawaiian shirts where our other counterparts are doing. So, we had men and women, white men and women, they could come to work dressed in sundresses and flip-flops. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I already know what's going to happen on an interview. I mean, not an interview, but on an appointment. If I'm dressed like that, like, I'm just not going to be taken seriously. So we have to put in a little bit more effort anyway in how we appear at the workplace. So I'm at the workplace, and every week I'm there. I'm number 3 on the charts. Like, I'm the top 3 of closing the most, and the top sales and all of that information. and all of that. So one day the manager of this department called me into his office, and he felt that he needed to have a talk with me. And his talk consisted of, can you tone it down a little bit? And he was a Middle Eastern man. And I can't remember if he was Persian or from Iraq or Armenian. I can't remember exactly, but I just know he was Middle Eastern. And, they already have a problem with women, in my opinion, have a problem with women, being outspoken. But, he was saying that I needed to tone it down as a woman. I'm dressed too sharp, and the other women are, kind of feeling some type of way because I'm in my zone. Hey, look, this is my livelihood. This is how I pay my bills, so I don't go into that thinking, oh, let me worry about how the next person is thinking of me and let me tone it down, and that really offended me because, for one, you don't tell your salespeople to tone it down in any way, especially when they in top 3 every month, first, second, or third. That was my place in sales. Secondly, I always feel like, and at that moment, I just felt like I was being discriminated against. And it happens a lot in society. It happens a lot, and do you think that that's right? What do you think about the pretty girl discrimination? And and then sometimes people even think that we are just supposed to, like, I was supposed to be like, oh, well, I'm going to come to work in some shorts and flip-flops and then don't close on anything. And then my money is, I'm not able to pay my bills. So does anybody have any situations of a pretty girl discrimination? Have you been discriminated against as a pretty girl? Do you think that it is something, or do you think that it's like all in the people's minds? Or in the mind of the pretty girl. I even remember going on an interview one time, and the manager, I was suited and booted like I do, and the manager saw me, coming to the place, and she looked me up and down, and you could tell by her demeanor that she was already like, oh no, you are definitely not getting this job. Like, her mind was decided instantly that I was a no-go. And that was, to me, discrimination, because she looked at me like, you're not about to take my job. But at the end of the day, I really didn't want her job. I just wanted a little part-time something to, work. But that's a form of discrimination. And again, let me know what you think about the pretty girl discrimination in 2018. Let's get ready for the weekly mind shift for this episode of the Miss Lady Tycoon Show. So that feeling you have, the one where you secretly think that you should be in charge, or you find yourself continually wanting to run this thing and continually wanting to lift others up, or desperately wishing that people would just listen to you and take action because you know that they could change their lives, and you know that you could help them elevate to another level. That's not a normal feeling, right? You feel this way because you were born for more. You feel this way because you were born to lead. You feel this way because you've been given a message, and it's one that absolutely can impact millions of people. It's a vision that could also probably make you millions of dollars if that's what you want to do, and maybe even cause you to change the world, or to create a legacy, or be remembered for just being you. You do know that not everybody feels this way, right? And when I say not everybody, I mean not everybody walks around as you do, trying to figure out how you can elevate yourself and other people, how you can be known, or how to get what's inside of you out. Hardly no fucking body really thinks like that. It's a very small percentage of people. You do realize, right, that the normal person is walking around thinking that they've done life successfully if they have a slightly above average income, a car, a house, and get to go on a great overseas trip every year. You do realize, right, that even normal entrepreneurs are walking around thinking that they've done business right if they have a pretty little website or a pretty little logo and a pretty little course they get to sell people and hang around with other entrepreneurs and all of this other stuff. I think you realize this, that you want more. I think you know how unique the way you think is. And I think that deep down, you absolutely do understand just how powerful you are meant to be in your life. But I also think that for some reason, and I always fall back to our conditioning to play small. But I think that for some reason that you can't follow what's inside of you until you essentially have some kind of certificate of readiness or credibility, or I don't know what exactly to tell you, that, I think sometimes we all want to hear that, yes, girl, you allowed, or yeah, brother, you worthy, or it's your time, and all of this is just going to work out. You do know that in 2018, it is the year of execution. I mean, like literally everybody are entrepreneurs, and I love that. Not to say that they've all quit their jobs, but they are really stepping out there and executing all of the things that they've been wanting to do. I love that. But the thing that you have to understand as we are being entrepreneurs, the thing which took me so long to understand, and it's also the thing that nobody ever told me, and how I wish they did, so that's why I'm playing this role for you, is that you're already allowed. You are already worthy, and now, right now, it's your time. And it is all going to work out as long as you keep putting one foot in front of the other and you decide to endure and go through whatever so-called pain or struggle or fall on your face failure that you'll inevitably go through along the way. And if you just simply choose to not give up. So what I'm saying is, what I'm actually talking about, or what you absolutely have to understand, is simply that the stuff that you feel inside of you is real. The calling to lead is real, and the burn to unleash is real. This message that your heart is screaming to share is real, and it must be heard. It should be heard. And you should lead as you've always known that you will. And that time should be now. Simply just own it. Just own it. Like, I didn't become a leader when the internet appointed me to do so. I didn't become a leader because I earned my stripes, and I definitely didn't become a leader because I or anybody else deemed that I had gone through enough pain and life experience in order for me to be allowed or to be worthy of being. Let me tell you what happened. I became a leader because one day I woke up and I looked around. I looked around. And I decided that it was fucking bullshit that nobody, or that not everybody, knew who I was already. I'm like, what I have to share is completely different than what most people have to share. It's my message, and that my message had to get out, and I was finally going to run this thing. I was going to build this empire no matter what. And then I just started to act accordingly. I went to the end goal. I was like, who am I going to be? What am I going to be saying? What am I going to be creating? What am I going to be doing? What am I going to be selling? How am I going to show up in the world? And not just in business, but in life, in me, from the inside to the out. And then I asked myself, for each different area or idea that came to mind, who would I be and how would that look right now if I were already that leader, who I know that I am meant to be? Then I just simply became that person. Basically, I just clicked my fingers, I turned on the recorder, and I bought my microphone, and I simply became that person. Just like that. Because if you decide for it to be, right, then change. And stepping up to who you are meant to be truly can be that simple. And since then, I've just kept asking myself the same question over and over and over and acting on that answer. Now, do I sometimes flake out on myself? Yes, absolutely. Do I sometimes act out of alignment with what I know my higher purpose is? Hey, yep, I sure do. And sometimes things don't work out the way I had planned for them to. But either way, I'm like, so what? So what? All I have to do is just keep on and keep acting as best as I can as the next level version of me, of who I know I'm meant to be. So the thing you're going to have to realize is if you want to bring to life what's inside of you, it's actually the secret to all of success and life itself. It was never about earning the right to live the life that you were born for. You know that, right? Because you're already worthy. You're already ready. You already have the God-given right inherently to be the ultimate version of yourself. So stop trapping it inside of yourself. Let everyone know who you are, and everyone that is vibrationally ready for you will be there to support you. Stop waiting to be ready to live your life. You are ready, and it's your time, and you are allowed, and you have everything you need inside of you. Do you really want to keep looking like Neo? And he was getting ready to get out of that car, and it was raining, and he was getting ready to get out the car, and they said, do you really want to go down that road again? You already are familiar with what's down there. So don't go down that road. Just let it out and be you. And don't forget to live in the moment. Live in the moment. Live in the moment. It's a wrap. Episode 2. You've just experienced the Miss Lady Tycoon Show. See you next week. Peace.
This has been the Miss Lady Tycoon Show. Want more? Visit www.missladytycoon.com for more episodes, YouTube videos, and to keep the conversation going on social media.